instances lead to penalties if you don't withhold enough money.
We have about a survey out there that shows 50% have spent all their emergency savings. People are carrying more debt on their credit cards, and there has been a huge jump in the number of people reporting they have signed up for SNAP food stamps or visited a food pantry in the past.
Folks, there's a ton of news about the fourth stimulus check, Social Security benefits, and SI and SSDI. So far, everybody, President Biden is saying that an urgent warning has been released to the federal government. The IRS has new information on how to receive stimulus. It may now affect your tax refund as well. Some of the low-income households will likely see their check amount decrease. The IRS has already released an urgent warning concerning how stimulus payments are impacting your tax refund amount for the year. This will matter when you file your taxes for the next year of 2023. The stimulus checks in 2021, alongside the expanded parent-child tax credits, enabled millions of Americans more cash back from the tax refunds. The taxpayers should know the refund amounts will not match the money they received before. If you also deducted charitable contributions without itemizing them on your taxes, you will likely see that the amount of money missing from your tax refund is big as well. It's because the IRS stopped a special crisis era this year, so you cannot break a tax break for donations to charities if you claim to stand the deduction. In 2021, filers could claim up to $300 for cash donations or $600 if you're filing jointly. The tax break did not get extended in 2022, so there will be no financial benefit when it comes to your tax return. Ultimately, the IRS is giving you a smaller refund check. The IRS also warned that the timeline may be a little bit off in 2023 when it comes to refunds. According to officials, there is no specific deadline that Americans should expect to see their cash by. The IRS said that some returns may require additional review and some may take longer. But if you want a refund as soon as possible, then it helps to electronically file yours without any errors and opt to receive your payment by direct deposit. Schumer was unanimously elected for another term as the senatorial leader. He also is leading the 51-seat majority. Senate Democrats met behind closed doors in the Capitol to discuss a new leadership team. The session was swift with no challengers, unlike the contested Republican elections. So Schumer said after the announcement, "We had a great unified meeting. We were both very glad about what we were able to accomplish in the last Congress and setting aspirations that we will accomplish as much as in the 2 years." Now, Schumer has proven to be a steady force in one of the most consequential sessions of Congress. But Republicans take control of the House and Senate. Joe Biden said in the new year it will be a fresh challenge for Schumer in a divided Congress. Senate Democrats filled out their leadership team again, and now Senator Dick Durbin of Illinois was elected for the number 2 spot. So, Senate Republicans are already choosing their team, like Mitch McConnell on track to become the Senate leader again in the chamber. McConnell beat back a rare challenge from Rick Scott for the party's campaign chief, who failed to win back the Senate majority for the Republicans. Biden will face a divided Congress in the new year, so hopefully he can get stimulus checks sent out before next year.
It's starting to mean something again. National Manufacturing Day, when we celebrate workers. We're the backbone of the economy of this country, not a joke. Where is it written that it says America can't be the leading manufacturer in the world again? Where is that written? I'm here at this Volvo plant to thank the workers and management for building heavy-duty engines, transmissions, axles for trucks and buses, and parts of electric vehicles of the future. And like the United Steelworkers at the cement plant here in Hagerstown, we're manufacturing cleaner cement for our nation's roads and highways. People don't even realize how much cement, the way it's made, causes environmental problems. The older, dirty cement accounts for 7% of global emissions. Well, guess what? Clean cement makes a gigantic difference. And like all the workers I met yesterday at the IBM plant in Poughkeepsie, New York, where they're investing $20 billion in manufacturing advanced quantum computers here in the United States again, here in the United States. And the workers in Syracuse, where the company Micron is investing $100 billion to manufacture computer chips, the biggest investment of its kind in America, biggest investment ever in the world. And we all know it's been 4 or 5 years in this country, the last 4 or 5, a lot of things have been tough for people. A lot of things have been tough, and they're still tough for many. There's also a bright spot.
Now, there are many new relief checks that will be going out this year. According to Congress's new announcement, Social Security beneficiaries could also see an extra boosted monthly benefit increase very soon. Millions of senior citizens may be eligible to receive a $1,400 stimulus payment from the federal government right now. And everybody, millions of senior citizens have been hit hard by inflation, which is at the highest in 30 years. It's eating into fixed incomes and creating hardship for many people. Now, the situation has prompted calls for top Democratic lawmakers and advocacy groups for remedy in the form of a one-time $1,400 stimulus check for anyone on Social Security benefits. Now, folks, I think this decision does make sense. On an annual basis, the Social Security Administration increases monthly payments to account for any rise in the cost of living. Although this year's cost of living adjustment was the highest in 40 years, higher Medicare premiums will offset much of these gains. Additionally, the record increase could also put some beneficiaries into a higher tax bracket, eroding the annual boost in entitlements. Although benefits are indexed so the beneficiaries don't lose purchasing power as inflation pushes up the cost of everyday items, the increase for 2021 was just 1.3%. Although benefits are indexed so that beneficiaries don't lose purchasing power as inflation pushes up the cost of everyday items, the increase for 2021 was just 1.3%, or an extra $20 per month on average. But as the U.S. climbs out of the economic crisis induced by the crisis, which also disrupted supply chains worldwide, there has been unprecedented inflation in 2021. Around 86% of Social Security recipients surveyed told an advocacy group called the Senior Citizens League that their expenses increased by much more than that amount. This has forced some to take some drastic steps after having exhausted their retirement savings. Hundreds of thousands of Social Security recipients have told the Senior Citizens League of the hardships they are facing because they can't afford the rising prices of everyday necessities. It's also clear that this crisis continues and more stimulus checks should be sent out soon. Around 86% of Social Security recipients that were surveyed told an advocacy group called the Senior Citizens League that their expenses increased by much more than that amount. Now, this has forced some people to take drastic steps after exhausting their retirement savings. Hundreds of thousands of Social Security recipients have told the Senior Citizens League of the hardships they are experiencing because they can't afford the rising prices of everyday necessities. It's also clear that as the crisis continues, more stimulus checks have to be sent out. This is why the Senior Citizens League began a petition earlier to bring a collective voice to members of Congress. The goal is to build up enough support from seniors and the public to urge Congress to issue a $1,400 stimulus check to help Social Security recipients. This would be a form of non-taxable income, so seniors would not need to worry about the tax burden increasing by being knocked into a higher tax bracket. Now, besides higher taxes, the increase could also bring in a rise in surcharges to the Medicare Part B premiums, both of which are completely offset any gains. Now, the good news, everybody, is that there are lawmakers that do want to pass a fourth round of stimulus checks.
The Fed certainly has a role to play there.
Well, what do you think about the global economy more broadly and where we fit in it? This is the Dallas Fed president earlier this week. Quote, if the bulk of Russian energy exports is off the market for the remainder of 2022, a global economic downturn seems unavoidable. I would imagine if that's unavoidable, it's unavoidable for us as well.
So we are seeing pressure on commodity prices.